It's Thursday, February 20th, 2014. I'm Jeremy Shea, the producer of Gavel, Alaska. I've got Kelsey Nore with me. Kelsey's a 12th grader from North Pole High School who's been shadowing me and some of the other Gavel folks this week through Alaska Close-Up, a program for high school and middle school kids to learn about government and government-related stuff up close, or close-ups. It's done by CERC, the Southeast Regional Resource Center, a nonprofit. So, Kelsey, what do you think of your experience so far?
Well, it's a definite improvement from last year. Last year, not to discredit anyone, but I interned with Austin McDaniel from the governor's office. He was the audiovisual specialist, and a lot of it was really just kind of intern stuff. It was like I shredded paper, I cleaned out the Capitol basement. But now I'm really enjoying this one because I actually feel kind of important or needed. I've gotten to put captions or headlines, titles on certain video streams.
Oh, yeah.
I've actually gotten to control the audio and cameras, so that's exciting. But yeah, it's exciting and nerve-wracking, especially when people are depending on you.
Yeah, it's stressful. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, well, we've had a pleasure having you this week. We got one more day. Tomorrow, Kelsey's going to be helping us out with some live tweeting and some of our early morning meetings on oil and gas stuff. Yeah, so you should check that out, too, if you're interested. Anyway, it's day 31 of the legislative session, so we're a third of the way through of the 90 days. And I'm excited to announce that our first Gavel Alaska guide for the iPad is finally available in the Apple App Store for free or on iTunes. It was a pretty involved process, but it's finally out, and it's beautifully designed, 63-page guide to the legislature. It's got independently researched profiles I put together of each legislator, an interactive quiz that if you haven't studied government like beyond high school, will probably challenge a lot of what you thought you knew about the legislative process. An animation explaining the difference between the party split versus the majority-minority caucus split, and lots of other useful information in a fun, nicely designed package. Lots of information about transparency or lack thereof in the legislature. I've been referring to it as an ebook in the past, but technically it's an app because of the interactive features as far as the way Apple wants us to describe it. I'll give you a link to it, and there are ads linking to it plastered all over 360north.org that you can get to it as well. If you don't have an iPad, we've got a non-interactive PDF version of it at 360north.org too. Please take a look at it. Let's get to our coverage for Thursday, February 20th, 2014. No, not for Thursday. For Friday, February 21st, 2014. Kelsey mostly put the schedule together for us, and I just helped him out a little bit. At 8 a.m., we're going to follow the Senate Resources Committee. They're working on SB 138, the governor's big natural gas pipeline bill. At 9 a.m., Senate Finance is working on the capital budget and more gas pipeline stuff. The Senate is due on the floor at 10 a.m. There's nothing on their calendar as of this recording. The House is on the floor at 10:30. Their calendar is only showing one item right now, HJR 26 by Representative Dan Sadler and Eagle River Republican. According to this resolution, the federal government treats Gulf states in the Deep South more favorably than Alaska and California with regard to revenue sharing of federal offshore oil and gas leases. So the federal government leases stuff to oil companies, and some of that money goes back to the states nearby. ACR 26 basically says, hey, federal government, you should treat all states fairly and consistently with outer continental shelf oil and gas revenue sharing. In the afternoon, we'll be in House Judiciary at 1 p.m. They've got HB 218 and HB 284. HB 218 is by House Speaker Mike Chenault, a Republican from Nikiski. It was intended to smooth out wrinkles in how assaults against correctional officers are treated versus other uniformed officers, police especially, how those kinds of assaults are treated and as factors during criminal sentencing. But there's a new amendment being looked at tomorrow. It has to do with a potential inconsistency with how illegal immigrants who are imprisoned in Alaska and assault correctional officers could receive lighter sentences than a U.S. citizen in prison committing the same crime. So that's kind of interesting. And HB 284 by Representative Wes Keller, a Wasilla Republican, is also up. It takes the idea of an interstate compact, which is basically an agreement between multiple U.S. states, and combines it with a push for an amendment of the U.S. Constitution to require a balanced budget. So basically, if 3/4 of the states join a compact by, passing legislation similar to this, demanding a balanced budget amendment, it sets into motion a series of actions that could lead to a balanced budget amendment. So HB 284 gets us in the compact. At 1:30, SB 169 is supposed to get its first hearing. That's in Senate Health and Social Services Committee. SB 169 has a political odd couple of sponsors. Very conservative Republican Senator Cathy Giessel is the main sponsor, and Hollis French, an aggressive Democrat, signed on as a co-sponsor. The bill would create an entirely new statewide immunization program. It would create some reporting and accounting mandates for healthcare providers and create state accounts for buying vaccines and a commission to make recommendations about vaccines. It doesn't look like it has any mandates for anyone individually to be vaccinated or anything like that. But just a quick skim, so take that with a grain of salt. And in the evening, we'll be following more natural gas pipeline talk in Senate Resources. They come back in the afternoon at 3:30, and Senate Finance comes back at 5 also. Okay, thanks for watching. Here's my contact information. See you next time. Thanks.
Bye.